Mm. Good morning, Tartaria, Australia. Hey, Campbell.
Hello.
This is like our false good morning because we've already recorded this video and we rambled on about a few things. I hope it's all right. But in the day after, we came across this amazing clip, and you know how we've been on this like parasite conversation. I wanted to show it
Mm.
on this show. So we're just gonna whack it in here at the front. Hey, Campbell.
Yep, let's chuck it in and see what this dude has to say about parasites and what they might really be behind.
It's so worth showing you guys because once we like started to look at this parasitic agenda and this parasites in our health and parasites in our gut, it was just like, okay, we really as a community need to follow up on this one because it really is a thing. And so check this out. We're just gonna share it live
Play it.
so you guys can see it. And I'll share the sound, which I always forget.
Bloody
Click on that.
parasites, right? Whether they're inside or out, they both make you sick and tired.
Yes, parasitic human beings, parasitic aliens, parasitic reptiles, parasitic archons, parasitic bugs, man. They're
Bugs,
freaking
bugs.
everywhere.
It's been suppressed. I have cancer. I'm not going to accept the modality of the day. I need to know if there's a cure that's suppressed out there, and I offer a $10,000 reward. What do you suppose happened? I had to hire 8 people to man the phones in 2 shifts. But one man called
By the way, he offered a $10,000 reward because he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So we missed that part, just saying.
me. One man. And he impressed me. He said there's not one cure for cancer that's been suppressed, there's been 5. Which one do you want to know about? I said, whatever one works. He sent me to somebody that had an original Rife Ray unit, and I used it. 3 months later, the cancer was gone. So was my arthritis. And I was so gung-ho on it that I decided that I had to get involved in building Rife machines and get it out there for people and really help them. So I started doing research into the Rife technologies, and I found another man who really knew quite a bit about Rife and had all the frequencies and everything, and I went to see him and paid him a little bit of money, and he became a friend of mine. His name is John Sajeka, and John Sajeka showed me that I wasn't using the Hertz rates to get rid of cancer at all. That upset me, because I paid good money for this. Now, and why did the cancer leave? And I looked at the Hertz rates that I was using, and lo and behold, there were Hertz rates to get rid of worms and parasites. It turned out that the lead poisoning was giving a bed for parasites to breed in furiously, and it was their waste that had given me cancer. I was absolutely in shock. The more research I did and the further I got into this, the more I found out that pretty much all disease is caused by worms and parasites. I'm just like you.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi.
How's that? All diseases are caused by worms and parasites. That's an amazing statement, man.
Mm.
Have you ever seen these Rafe machines?
I've seen, well, frequency generators, which is the same kind of thing. There's ones that you can buy now called Spooky Twos. I've heard sort of, differing feedback on them, but you can definitely get them. People are building them, and it's just a frequency that goes out. As long as you can isolate or get onto a specific frequency and move through them, and you know which frequencies to use, then that's it. So I need to get my hands on one, I think.
For fuck's sake. It's just like we're just in a parasitic realm. Like that's
Hmm.
just the fact. So for anyone in our community who has any issues, anything, big or small, like annoying or actually debilitating, like I would be suggesting we start at every point with the parasite cleanse. I'm on my 3rd week of a parasite cleanse right now. And it's hard to know. Like you can't obviously we have a long drop. And for our non-Australian audience, that means it's a handmade toilet. And so we can't really check what's coming out of us. But I definitely can say in the first week, I definitely went up and down in my moods and just my, how I was feeling about myself and you know, it definitely, I could feel an emotional response to it. I would go from being starving to not needing to eat at all, like not thinking I'm hungry at all. And yeah, so I mean, I could definitely feel some movement in my energetic body as I've been doing this cleanse, but it blows my mind, man. I actually get mind blown about this concept that, you know, all of our disease comes down to parasites.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and using frequencies as well is a good way. So if anyone's used a Rife machine or knows much, leave a comment for us.
Yeah.
You know, when we break it down, we are frequencies, so why not start at the cause, right?
Did you remember when we were at the Mulaney gig, that amazing, excellent human being who had the sound bed?
Yes,
Like that would
man,
be very similar, right?
that was crazy, that sound bed, wasn't it?
Yeah. If ever you guys get a chance to have a session on a sound bed, it's pretty remarkable. You can tell that like the vibration of frequency, it has a huge impact. It's so unbelievable. Like my arms were levitating
Yeah,
from the sound, you
I felt
know,
like my
they're
whole body
rising.
was levitating.
It was pretty insane. Well, I just wanted to show that clip before we got into whatever we talked about on this show, because I can barely remember now. I was building a chessboard, and actually on that topic, by the end of the show, I'm going to add another character, which is time. We hadn't added time, Campbell, to the chessboard.
Nice.
But what were we watching the other day that was talking about time is our version of God in this realm is time. It's
Yeah,
actually time.
was that in the dark? Did that come from the
Oh,
dark?
that's right. Yes, Campbell and I've been watching the TV series Dark.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been a time bender.
Yep, yep. It's interesting. It's about our third thing that we've got into about time recently. Like we watched two movies, didn't we? And they were both
Yep.
about time, you know, being not a constant thing, shall we say, manipulated.
Yes. But I love this concept that our version of God is actually time in this realm. Like I like playing with that idea. So I'm adding it to the chessboard, which will make no sense now, but by the end of the show, add it as another character to the quandaries of the state of the nature that we're in. Okay, that's it. Carry on with the show, Campbell.
Enjoy the
Carry
show.
on. Oh, good morning, Tartaria, Australia, except it's not. It's good afternoon, almost evening. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Well, look, Campbell, look, we've got the sun right where we want it, right up my fingertips.
Yeah, man.
Right there. Woo!
Woo.
Hello, sun. Great, because we're just going to start the whole day on a big discussion about the solar eclipse.
Yeah, that's cool. You can like block out the sun, even though it's like 50 billion times bigger than the Earth. That's
I
amazing.
know, look, just with a few fingertips.
Your fingers.
This is
Wow.
keeping it real, people, keeping it real. Yeah. So hey, I just want to start now, you know, obviously you've got to be like, have your critical theory, you know, mindset on when we watch your little TikTok videos and Facebook. But this came through my feed a couple of nights ago, and I think it's worth discussing, my friend. I think it's worth discussing. So let me share screen and we're going to watch it together. I don't know if you've actually seen it yet, have you?
I think I think I'd watched it, but I wasn't paying attention. Can you make it bigger?
Geez, Campbell.
I know, right?
What's with the bad attitude, man? Yeah? All right, let's go. Let's just see what happens.
Can you make it bigger?
I am a high-level military liaison between the Pentagon and NASA. I'm here
Whatever
as
that
a
fucking means.
anonymous whistleblower to tell everyone that what happened on April the 8th was not an eclipse. What happened on April the 8th was called Project Pegasus. It's been in the planning for years. What occurred, if not an eclipse, since the moon was beside the sun during it and not crossing it, and also it's for both in Pisces. The whole thing is ridiculous, and that's how much credit the government gives all of you, because they'll do something that blatantly wrong, I mean inaccurate, just impossible, and yet they know that Americans, they'll be called conspiracy theorists if they even bring it up, so they do it.
Just pausing the video for a second because I wanted you to relay your real-time experience. You were in America when this went on and I was here in Australia, so we've got a nice big good. Like we tried to do a live feed that night, but it didn't work. So
No.
what happened with you and the moon and the sun?
What did I see? So I was in Cleveland, Ohio, I think that's where I was. And yeah, when we watched it, the moon was in the sky, like up to the left, and the eclipse came in from the right.
So you
what-
actually saw the eclipse and the moon at the same time, separate?
Yeah, well, the start of the eclipse, yeah, it sort of all faded out a bit once it started, but yeah, it was just like a crescent moon up in the sky that you could see it. Everyone could see it, and it was on the other side, and it was higher as well. And then this black object, whatever, right? It didn't look like the moon coming over the sun. It was just this. What it looked like someone was shining a light onto a white wall, and then they put this black disc across the light, not across the reflection, if you know what I mean. It was that dark, and it just sort of like took
Like it
out.
came out of the sun versus moving across the sun?
Like something was going across the source of the sun, if that's what it looked like. It looked like whatever was going across not so much at the sun, but whatever was producing the sun.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
can imagine
across-
shining a torch on a wall,
Yeah.
and then you put the disc not across the reflection, but across the actual torch.
Yes.
And then
I
you
see what you're
see
saying.
the reflection. That's what it seemed like to me. That's the feeling I got, and that's what it looked like. It was
Okay, yeah.
weird.
But you were definitely seeing a crescent moon, and it was
Definitely
definitely
saw a crescent moon up to the left, higher than the sun, and then whatever came in from the other side.
All right, good. So let's continue then.
What did they do if there was an eclipse?
Can you hear that?
The biggest thing you have to realize is the coincidence, which was no coincidence, of CERN being turned on that day.
It is near impossible to explain or understand for most of us, but monumental nonetheless.
CERN was turned back on that day, and immediately after it was turned on, this is what appeared in the sky above CERN in Switzerland on the 8th. A literal portal was created above CERN, and this was actually predicted, which is one reason why it was filmed by many people who were in the know. But ever since they discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, the God particle, that's when all of this contact began to occur.
Using a particle accelerator, believe they have found the subatomic particle known as the Higgs boson, otherwise known as the God particle. There you have it.
Because this whole thing of Project Pegasus was about CERN. Through its experiments with the God particle and particle acceleration in general, they achieved quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is a phenomenon when, by working at the quantum level and getting to the true incredible energy of particles, once they combine or collide, there was something that occurred where the quantum entanglement manifested in a being emerging from another dimension, another alien being that emerged. Through that, this was a couple years ago, through that introduction, through that communication, 3 governments got involved in a negotiation that occurred in a very bizarre way, because it didn't actually happen in person. I'm not going to waste time explaining how the negotiations happened, but between Russia, China, and America, they dealt with this species, and this species offered a deal. And the deal was that we would be given something if they were allowed to come here to Earth and basically set up a secret base. What did we get, and what's their secret base about? Okay, I'll just quickly tell you. What we got was AI. Think about it. Didn't AI emerge out of nowhere 2023? And didn't it emerge, not just out of nowhere, in an incredibly mature, sophisticated level of complexity that kind of makes sense for a new technology? And even now, 1 year into it, a year and a half into it, whatever we're at, it's getting scary what it can do. I mean, it's indistinguishable from reality in some cases. Okay, so that's where we're at 2 years into AI, and that's because AI, like a lot of our technology, like the microchip and other things that we got from Roswell and the Greys, this is another technology from another higher level species. And let me just add this, for those who think that AI is about making funny pictures or interesting videos and stuff, sure, it can do that, and that is the consumer-facing end of this technology. But if you knew the intent of AI in terms of how it will impact your everyday life, very soon, you might take a gun to your head and blow your brains out. It is that radical of a shift. What the government intends to do with this shiny toy called AI. So that's what we got. In return, they got basically the southern half of Antarctica, below the South Pole. And that is what, well, let me, first things first, what the hell happened if not an actual eclipse? Well, a couple things. Number one, they required, in order to do this, and when I say do this, the event to happen on the 8th was the alien species coming through to our dimension. In order to come through, they required a few things. Number one, they required loosh. What is loosh? Loosh is the energy expended and exhibited by human beings when they are collectively excited and focused on something, like at a rock concert or during church or something like that.
Oh, it's emotional. I can't explain why, but it is. We had tears, we had screams, we had fireworks.
So by having so much of the planet looking up at a certain time of day and everybody giving their attention and their emotions to it, which by the way, if you watch some videos, you had newscasters crying.
It just took my breath away, the whole thing.
That was a bit odd that they were crying. And the reason they were crying was because it was an incredibly emotional thing, because the aliens made it so. The aliens made it so because the energy created or received from the loosh, and again, I've defined what loosh is.
Oh, wow. Whoa, look at that! What's that all about?
That loosh energy, coupled with the energy of the sun, allowed them at the time of the quote-unquote eclipse for their mothership, which is what that circle was. It wasn't a moon. Their mothership came out of nowhere, entered into the area of the sun, stopped. Did you notice how it stopped for an inordinate amount of time in the center when it should have been continuing at the very slow crawl rate that the moon typically does? Well, it didn't. It stayed there for a bit of time. And that's insane, okay? That's another blatant giveaway. And again, the government thinks that no one's going to notice, or if they notice, they'll be branded a conspiracy theorist, and they don't care. So they just allowed it to happen. This ship basically connected with the sun at that moment and got an incredible amount of physical energy required for them to enter through the dimension. Coming in from a no dimension takes an incredible amount of energy. The sun and our loosh did that. At that point, the ship went around the back of the sun. Did you notice that we didn't see anything depart? It just sort of disappeared into the sun. Well, it kind of did. It went around to the back, and it actually docked there where it is at this moment that I speak. What happened next? Well, from that energy, from that loosh, from that focus, from that also that actual hydrogen-based nuclear energy it got from the sun, it was able to send a massive amount of ships and individuals of their race through the Earth into an area just north of the Antarctic base that they're going to take over. the waves, if you look at the waves stuff, the things that happened on the wave map during that time, okay?
April 9th, 2024, the day after the solar eclipse, something terrifying lurked off the coast of Antarctica. Radar systems detected a monstrous wave anomaly, an area larger than Texas with 80-foot waves. The anomaly moved up towards South Africa. At the same time, Cape Town witnessed a horrifying sight. The ocean receded dramatically, as if dragged away by some unseen force. Beaches were left exposed, waves vanished. What really happened? A glitch in the system? A creature? Or something yet to be seen?
And they had the audacity to tell the public it was a glitch. It wasn't a glitch, because there is tons of video and evidence of people in South Africa running from, mini tsunami level waves that were created by these ships, becoming USOs, going underwater. And from doing that and establishing themselves there, they were able to then make their move to the southern part of Antarctica. They also took animals.
We're going to talk to Jason about some of the changes that we've heard. Birds making more noises.
And it's fun to see all the animals act up.
Anything you noticed with the animals as we were sitting back there just a minute ago?
They get very active now. The fish were jumping out of the water a lot.
Animals were a big part of the deal. They are, of course, taking humans was off the table from our governments, but they allowed that animals to be taken, and animals reacted weirdly during this quote-unquote eclipse. Also, the government is presently asking for reports of animal behavior because they know exactly what's going on and they want to know how it affected them. The reason why there was disasters declared and all the National Guard and all that was because the government doesn't know if they can trust these people, okay? They're
All right, so it's a bit long, right? So it's 12 minutes. We're up to 10 minutes. So first of all, we have to put it into our vocabulary. So let's replace the idea with aliens with beings from the outer realms.
Extraterrestrials, which are still aliens.
Yep, still aliens. It goes on to talk about how the National Guard was really, how it was really weird how the National Guard was everywhere.
In America there were heaps of all this stuff about the army and the National Guard were all going out and all this stuff. It was weird.
Yeah. So they were saying that's because they didn't know how the aliens were going to what they'll actually do. That was it. And then they brought up the fact that NASA also shot off 2 rockets that day.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Project Pegasus is what they called it. The animals, I found that interesting because normally when an eclipse comes over, the animals go quiet. They all subdue. And I did notice that because that's what we were waiting for. When are the birds going to go quiet? Because that was kind of like a marker of when's it going to start. But they actually didn't. Like they weren't going off, but they were still fluttering about, which was a bit weird. And in some of those videos, it showed the moon. And you see the crescent up above to the left. That's what I saw, man. And just one other thing is that they can't be docked behind the sun because that doesn't work when the realm is flat. Maybe on top, I don't know, that might work. But anyway, that's just my little nitpicking.
Well, I mean, we don't know exactly. I mean, we don't know exactly what the sun is, do we? Or do you feel like you've got a good explanation?
I mean, like I was saying before, it looked like it was a projection during the eclipse. So is there anywhere to hide even? But it's an interesting theory. There was definitely tidal waves in Africa around that time.
Yeah, and that weather map.
Yeah, and the weather map, obviously that it didn't hit the news, all these massive tidal waves, they just ignored it all. And AI, right? AI, if you're looking at AI and quantum computing, I mean, it did come in very quick, but in the history of it and CERN, I remember that video of when they opened, was it CERN at the tunnel?
Yeah, CERN.
I think it was an opening ceremony for CERN. They held at this tunnel and it was just full of these demons and things dancing about and all the elites sitting up just watching it. And Geordie Rose, the guy who's big in the quantum computing field, has said that quantum computing is summoning demons. Like they're talking, he talks about a quantum computer, you're literally going into an alternative reality, like another dimension basically, which is kind of what this person is saying, that where these beings came from. And what's another dimension? I don't know. Is that an outer land? Is that another frequency outside the dome, another domed world? We don't know, but we definitely know there's something going on. There's definitely other entities around at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I've just been recently, as you know, I've been going off on a bit of a reptilian taint again. I haven't looked at it for ages, I just sort of put it aside years ago now. Agreed with it, put it aside, went down all these other pathways, and it's just come to my mind, and it's really come to my mind, thinking about who's the they that are running and the world in the most rudimentary form, and the reptilians fit for me. And since that time, obviously, I've watched as we all have watched countless videos and interviews of people who have, with all the celebs with their eyes shape-shifting, and there's so much friggin' evidence. We watched a 5-part series the other day from the old guys at Edge of Wonder TV. Yep.
It was all right.
It was all right. But it was a good reminder how integrated the reptilian concept has been throughout our culture, all over the world in different places. Now, the reason that I'm saying all this is so I have definitely decided that we have other beings and different species here on this realm with us.
Well, I was just going to say, it was interesting when you were researching, trying to find something to watch on reptilians, like a good doco. They were all gone.
Yeah,
there used to be heaps of them, right? They were all scrubbed, and the only ones we could find were basically saying it was a big conspiracy theory, and everyone who believed it was an idiot. And even some said that it came from that 80s TV series V. They said, oh, they've just copied that and turned it into a thing. So, I mean, even 2 years ago, you could still find a lot of it. Definitely 5, it was everywhere. But now they're scrubbing the internet of it, which is, why would they? Why would they care if people believe that, if there was no truth to it?
Yeah, it's definitely been scrubbed. And it's definitely interesting to me that the reptilian concept has been so integrated into my truth seeking process, and I think everyone else's. So then when I was watching this, I was like, okay, well, yes, there's definitely doorways that come into our realm, 100%. Oh, and I reckon the reason that they've scrubbed most of the reptilian stuff is, I agree that it's because so many people lost their channels during the last couple of years, that so much content on all of these amazing topics we love just got deleted. So that I think that's what's happened within our community.
Yeah, that's interesting. That could have been actually the reason, right? They're trying to get rid of their backlogs rather than what they thought they might produce. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So anyway, so there's definitely doorways into this realm, definitely 100. And all the old artwork we've looked at, Campbell, there's just so many artworks of fucking armies coming out of the sun, and mythical creatures coming out of the sun. Like, there's definitely a connection there throughout the historical artwork. So that makes sense to me. Yeah. The integration with the AI topic is an interesting one, because I agree with that sentiment. Like, so most people feel like the AI was just a natural extension of the internet. Like, we have this internet, and it's like it makes sense that we've evolved to suddenly from Google to ChatGPT. But it's not. It is not. It is not the same thing. It is not the same technology. It is so much more advanced, and it is so much more integrated and integrating and super, super, super tonic in its processes and ability to compile and translate everything. It's freaking scary, and it's not scary like the internet scary. It's scary in a new form of tech. So it's interesting to me that they always talk about finding the God particle, as if science and man can find, with technology and AI, the God particle, and announce that they've got the God particle, that here it is presented as the God particle. Like, talk about like becoming the mimics of God again, if they can announce a particle to be the God particle, the creator particle.
These are all AI images too, by the way. I'm just scrolling through here.
I play with it all the time.
It's indistinguishable basically from reality at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
That's AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Videos, and that's translated now to videos, and in every way. There will be no distinguishing.
Yep. It's writing books. It's writing scripts. People are creating movies, out of AI.
Yeah, and Campbell, that's old news. It's got way more intelligent than that.
They're doing, right?
way, way, way more intelligent. This shit's solving problems that you know, have been currently unsolvable to people and in their various businesses. Anyway, put that aside though. The idea that the trade-off was the AI, that can work as a theory, right? Because it did come out of nowhere and it came super quick and it was packaged super sophisticatedly straight away. Whereas with the internet, it took ages for us to be educated on how to use the internet and how to have an email. Like our generation, when we first introduced to it, took ages.
Yeah, well,
But
I saw some like really good pics the other day. I think it might have been J Dreamers, and apparently the prompts that were put in was like 5 words or something were put in, and it just had this amazing landscape sort of came up. So
yeah,
you don't have to do much to work it at all, right?
No.
Just throw a few words in there.
It's
And
super
like you said, for business and all this kind of stuff, it's kind of at the point where if you want to be competitive in business, you have to unfortunately use AI. Like all the big business, it's doing all their accounting, right? Which is
It's doing
saving all this
everything.
money. So if you're running a small business and you're paying an accountant, like and you're paying for all these services that other people are getting for free, basically, then yeah, you're just going to fall behind. So it's an interesting little predicament where we're sort of ended up in.
It is. It is. It is. It is. So, but I mean, back to the video, it does make sense that the trade-off could have been AI. It did time with that. And then that weather anomaly at the end, like I watched that immediately. That came up through all my channels straight away. This freaky fucking black blob that was moving, you know, in the ocean on the weather charts.
Yeah.
But I guess the most important question is like, because we don't believe that humans would have been the one to make the decision to let an alien species in, because they don't run the government.
Exactly. So we've already been invaded. So did we get invaded again?
Yes, this is more the interesting question.
Is the question more, or the scenario that there's some consciousness, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, that somehow got in here and is somehow controlling people to an extent, and it couldn't get in physically? Is it then use those people to create the machines and facilities that could actually get it physically into this world? And that's what may have just happened, right?
That's what CERN was designed to do.
Yeah. So
I heard, Campbell, that CERN, the mass and science behind creating CERN came from the Kabbalah. It came from religious textbooks. That the mass is all embedded into our religious books for the greatest and worst technology we've ever created. That humans have done all the building. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that, obviously everyone's heard of Bible codes and things, and there's codes and other, there's many ways to read books. So that's interesting that it's in the Kabbalah. And, I mean, that we've got all these old books of, like grimoires and stuff, basically demonology books and spell books and all this stuff. And I mean, it can go back to John Dee, wasn't it? Who summoned Lamb, who basically looks exactly like a grey alien. And
wasn't John Dee the one that created the television? The first, was it John Dee that started?
No, John Dee was Queen Elizabeth I, worked for her back in the.
One of them invented the television.
Are you Googling it now?
I'm Googling it now.
I read an article, and I can't find it now, like years ago, that was talking about the television and how it was invented. And it was saying it was through the Navy, but it was basically invented as a way to induce different brainwave states in people. It was basically just a screen with no pictures, and you stared at it and it affected your brainwave states, and that evolved into TV, which is, tell lies to your vision, whatever you want to, however you want to call it. There's all these,
John Baird.
Things in
John
there.
Baird.
Oh, John Logie Baird.
Yes.
Logie,
yeah. All right. So
I always thought that sounded like Yogi Bear. That's how I remember it.
So if the reptilians do run the government, which they do, and I definitely think, and they're basically, Campbell and I watched a really interesting series on Netflix this week in pursuit of our deeper understanding of parasites, and we came across a new series called Parasites the Grey, and it's Korean, and whatever, it was fine, it was whatever, big giant alien flower parasite head people. But what was interesting about it is it very clearly showed the progression of this invading species, these parasites, how where they put the human race on a pedestal was in the way that we create organizations.
Yes.
So they're like the very unique quality of humanity is this creation of organizations. I don't know if it's organic to humanity, but here we are with these. No one I know likes organizations, and no one I know is into such a hierarchical structure. But anyway, it is classically humankind at the moment. And that they would just like keep invading the next most powerful person to get to the top of that organization. So then they were ruling, there was just one of them, but they were ruling the whole organization. And how quickly, once they got further and further up the levels of control or position, how many more they could bring into the organization, because they got easier and easier and easier, the more and more powerful they got. So that's how they invaded, which is pretty much what I think's happened here. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, that's what I call the whisperers, and I got that term from the Aurolinda book. When you read that, it talks about these magi coming in from somewhere else, and basically it says that back then all the stories were painted on the walls of the temples, and the magi came in and basically started getting rid of that, and yet they didn't take over power. They got themselves to positions where they could whisper in the ears of kings.
Yeah, right.
And they could start conflicts and start controlling. And so they're never the front man, but they're controlling, like the politicians we all know, right?
Yeah.
And
so it'd be a combination of both of those things. They were the whisperers, and then they became the invaders.
Now they run all the organizations.
Yeah.
But they're out of sight, right? We never know who they are.
Yeah, or they're operating, because I think when you literally sign your soul away in these situations, I think that gives the invading parasite the right to your body, and that you're sharing a body, basically. So that's where we get all those, the celebrities and the politicians that have those freeze moments, and then they jump in and out.
Have
this
names,
competing person. Yeah, there's different
for
names.
their alter egos.
That's
like
right. That's right.
Beyonce is Sasha Fierce or something. I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have these names, and they will literally say that they turn into a different person when they start performing. Like something takes over them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
demons like to dance, but pop music. But there you go.
No, they fucking love it, man. Demons are partiers, man.
Yeah, man. As long as there's a satanic ritual in the middle.
They're rock and roll.
Rock and roll. That's an interesting one, because
that
they say that was formed at the crossroads by, I've forgotten his name. I'll put it up on the screen. Who basically asked the devil, first one to sell his soul so he could get guitar skills, and he became really famous. For about 3 years, and then he went insane, basically.
Johnston.
And he ended up barking like a dog at people, and then died or something weird. But that's how rock and roll, we're told, started back in the 40s.
Yeah, the devil definitely has a beat.
Yeah, man, he does. Just get the pick of destiny, man. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, we watched that. You remember watching that clip the other day where it was showing the guy who's basically written all of the music and all of the songs.
Max Martin.
Yes.
Yeah,
and just like one guy writing all the hits for every single person, and not only that, he was literally telling them how to sing it exactly,
how to pronounce the words. He put a lot of emphasis in, they say.
Yeah.
And then I'll put the video in here, but basically when you play Britney Spears, Hit Me One More Time, it says, I'm not too young for you, or something. I'm not too young.
I'm not too young for sex. Something like that.
Does it say?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it says sex. Yep.
We'll put it up now.
But
that's why the emphasis was on the pronunciation.
Yeah.
So when you play it backwards,
Exactly. And his whole process with the music reminded me of the Donald Marshall interviews, which I'm sure a lot of you've seen. If you haven't seen the stuff from Donald Marshall, that's pretty trippy.
I don't think I've seen that.
Really? Because he's like talking like, he's basically trapped with the parasites. They've got his consciousness. He's basically abused and raped and abused his whole life. But he's genius producer. He's a genius when it comes to making songs. So they keep him alive for that. And he basically keeps trying to come out and share it. But is it, you know, like it's a trippy fucking story.
Yeah.
It goes down the whole cloning. Anyway, it's trip, but
it's interesting too, because with Max Martin, I'm pretty sure that's his name. He was like a, you know, third tier sort of producer.
yeah.
And he somehow teamed up with like basically the best producer in the world at the time back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he got his way up to a partnership and everything. And then the other dude, the genius, suddenly, weirdly, suspiciously died.
Yep.
It like young as well. And then this Max Martin dude took over. And we've all heard the stories about, you know, sacrifices that need to be made and all this kind of thing for you to go up the ladder. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting that this one guy is responsible for basically all of pop music, all popular music.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's an interesting concept.
Remember that clip? What was that clip from that movie? And there was a guy on a piano, and he's literally going, "I've written all the songs," and he's playing them all. Do you remember that?
No.
I'll find it and put it in.
So why was I on the music tangent? Where I wanted to actually go was talking about if the parasites, which I'm going to call the reptilians, have moved up, and the reptilian agenda is aligned with this like demonic agenda. So there's like, well, what do you think there? Do they feel different to you? Do you think like the reptilian parasites are different from the Satan demon parasites?
I mean, it's an interesting one.
They don't feel quite the same, you know.
No, a lot of people think that demons are from other realms, like so they're a different frequency kind of to us. They're not as solid. Where most reptilians and reptile stories, they seem to be like solid, like humanoids, but they've just got advanced cloaking, or if you want to call it that, over them.
Wait a minute.
So
So
the demons do, and demons are also the ones that can attach themselves to people. So they seem more etheric, if that's the right word, like non-physical. So that's the distinction I would make.
But people transform into like devils and demons physically, because that's reported in shitloads of interviews.
Faces and things, but they don't turn into them.
No, their whole bodies.
Yeah, but that they don't stay that way, do they?
No, but it's like shape shifting into a reptilian.
Yeah,
but it's a satanic demonic form.
Well, yeah, okay, so fair. So I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Are they the same? I don't know. I always think of the reptiles as related to, you know, to the reptilian brain. What they tell us is the reptilian brain, which is a very, you know, fight or flight, you know, no empathy, all this kind of thing, which is, you know, it has a lot of, you know, traits that the leaders of this world hold as well, right? These sort of cold-blooded, beady little eyes.
I'm always torn here because I've had a full-on past life experience where the reptilian
with nice ones,
really nice one. Like she was a female reptilian.
Well,
I loved her. She was a teacher, and she wasn't the reptilian. All right, how about this for a theory, right? How about this? Because I believe that the reptilians are native to this earth.
Yeah.
I believe they are underground, but they are native to this earth. I believe that there are a race of reptilians native to this earth who may be at war with us because they want to enjoy the surface. I don't know, but I feel like there are a native reptilian race here on the earth. I feel like there are draconians that have come in from a different realm, reptilians, and that potentially they are bigger, fiercer, and stronger than the native reptilians, and that they have maybe enslaved the native reptilians. I mean, that's that's a good story.
Wow.
Obviously. All right. And then how about this? So then so potentially maybe the parasitic reptoids that came in, let's call them the draconians, and I'll call the reptoids the natives as I make this pathway. The draconian, so this is Campbell and I, this is how much research we do. This is where it starts, right? We're just now entering the pathway of the imagination, and this is where we will gather our truth. So we've got reptoid natives, we've got a parasitic, or the draconians. No, I feel like they've come from another realm. I do. I feel like they've come from another realm, the draconians. I feel that. Do you feel that? Like if you were to weigh up an underground
who are the draconians? The ones in charge, basically, at the moment.
Yes. So the reptilians that have moved up and taken over our governments are draconian.
Yeah. Whoever that is, they're not from here, I don't think.
Yes. Okay. So then we've got this other force, this demonic force that is very obviously prevalent in a takeover of our celebrity Hollywood. I mean, that's where we get most of the evidence, the takeover of the celebrities. So the politicians have been taken over and the celebrities.
Well,
so the
of
celebrities,
course, they created, or that was all created, wasn't it? By this ruling class, all this, what we've got now as music and film and all this, because, you know, back in the past, you know, symphony orchestras, it was all different, right? But
yeah,
what we've got now has been created but as a tool, as a, you know, programming, brainwashing tool, basically. And
yes,
and it's getting worse right now. It's bloody a sexualization tool, and God knows what else they're doing, right?
So Satan, Campbell, would then, I think, if we follow the story of Satan and this realm, at least, there is evidence that we had a human individual who summoned forth and did ritual magic and summoned forth maybe the first demon onto the earth, or the first recent one, like with Aleister Crowley and all of the beings that came through that pathway.
And all that, yeah.
Like they were human beings, right? That summoned these forces.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was humans who summoned another entity or whatever it is, consciousness.
Okay, so that's separate from the draconians. That's a separate situation.
Well, as far as we know, that happened, I think, you know, back in the 1600s, QE1, Queen Elizabeth I. So not thousands of years ago, but, or, you know, Aleister Crowley definitely got into it. So who knows who was the first to summon them actually and let them loose. Because it all started off with seances, right?
Yep, I remember a past life where I was the daughter of one of the founders of the Lunatic Society.
Oh my God.
In Belfast. No, was that the town? Oh, I can't remember.
In Belfast.
No, it started with a B. This is the past life experience that I had. But my point is that there was definitely that focal point had definitely was on its way very powerfully. So demons then, thus, which have then gathered a lot of force. Once you summon one, I guess you just get advised by that demon on how to do the next spell to make it bigger and more powerful. And then you just keep going up until, you know, essentially we've got this huge demonic force that has like taken over the celebrities and.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay, so do they take over? Do demons take over the draconians?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, first of all, like if there is a native reptilian race from this realm, they can have good and bad people, right? Look at humans. Like there's clearly a lot of bad humans, right? And there's a lot of good humans. So that could be an answer. Or so you're asking, has whatever's come in as a nefarious force taken over humans and native reptilians, reptoids?
No. Oh, keep up with the characters here, Campbell. You ready? Right? The draconians are the bigger force that have taken over the government. The reptoids are the natives that are underground.
Yes.
And I think they potentially have been enslaved by the draconians.
Yes.
The demons and Satan have come in from a human will and ritual magic, which must mean that ritual magic and magic has come in from somewhere. It's been in existence. It's there. That this is always, I guess we're in a free will realm here. You know, the tools of the trade are available, lying around. If you do want to summon a demon and be the first person in line, this reset to do so. So that's a separate force.
So basically that's two forces that are coming in. So you don't think that the devils and demons are the draconians? Because I
No,
mean,
that's what I'm
draconian, it's very
saying.
close to dragon, like the
I
devil,
know.
it's very associated with fire.
Yep.
I mean, it could be, yeah, possibly it could be. I mean, and you know, I was thinking about this the other night, actually. It's like think of a country today on Earth, like especially, you know, like where we were recently, like out in the Balkans or in, you know, different parts of Asia and Europe. These countries are getting constantly invaded, like
Yep.
every government, you know, by all these different people.
Yep.
So that could be, you know, the scenario of Earth as a realm.
Yeah.
If there are lots of other different, you know, lands and civilization around us, yeah, exactly. It could be not just one. Like they could be fighting over control of us.
I mean, basically, this is you know, it's clear that this is essentially free will realm that we're in. It's, you know,
That's what we're
choose your own
told. That's what we hope
adventure.
so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is. Even though
Consent.
we've
Yeah.
got massive enslavement and a prison around us, we're still free to take an action. We're pretty, you know, free in that way. We could, if we wanted to, you know, set off a bomb, you know, at fucking wherever, and we'd be free to do that. And, you know, we'd pay the cost, but my point, anyway, that's not my point. My point is that there's a free, so yes, maybe the way that the ball keeps moving so we can get to make those choices, we just keep going through a cycle of invasion. But maybe the invasion can be positive or negative, can be
Yeah. Well,
negatively
yeah,
charged or
exactly.
positively charged, negatively charged, positively charged, right?
Well, that would make sense. Yeah. Like if different
Yeah.
beings of certain vibrations and only certain ones could get in at certain times, right?
I mean, I don't know about you, in a positively charged realm, Campbell, I could so imagine us being in relationship with native reptoids. That if there's race under this earth, to be in harmony, to share experience and to learn from each other, and to unify the inner and outer world, the external, the internal. There could be a beautiful pathway there. I could see that in a positively charged realm, you know, where the negative isn't charged to murder and kill and destroy and lie and seduce and all the horrible shit that it does. But like, it's the opposite.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we get help. And I was going to say too, like when we were talking about music and Max Martin, were you going to say something about Taylor and selling
No.
your soul? You
No,
forgot
I
what you were going to
wasn't
say.
going to mention Tay.
Because I was going to say we also watched that video from the what was it 2008, I think, video awards, video hits award or whatever they're called, where Taylor basically it's the one where Kanye West grabbed the microphone off Taylor Swift, and I watched this video of how it was her basically ritual of her going
being
up the
humiliated.
ranks,
Yeah.
going from the sweet innocent, you know, in the white, and then to the you know, whatever. And in that
the
same
sassy activist who's going to stand up for all womankind.
oh yeah, man, the boss girl. In those same awards, Jack Black got up and said a prayer, if that's what they're called, to Satan, and got everyone in the audience to chant with him. So, and he's so well known for the devil signs, but he's like, oh, it's rock and roll, it's rock and roll, and that's another interesting little crossover there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's that's the pathway it's taken up the rank. That's what's gone on. It's owned the thing. It's owned the emotional spectrum. Satanic magic has caused us to be emotional, and that's was interesting when we're watching that video, because he was talking about when they came through, they required the emotional. Well, what does music fucking do? What is not just music, but what does like popular culture music do?
Movies, TV.
Oh, it's all about making you feel
politics.
something. Movies feel something, TV feels something, news feels something. Like it's always about, they're always wanting you to feel emotional.
Yeah,
whereas I think the Draconians went up the organization realm. They went up through the ranks of power and authority and hierarchy. That's where I think they're moved. So
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back to around 1900 and all the first set of billionaires, like those same families, same bloodlines are still running those industries that are the biggest in the world and the most controlling, have the most, all the oil and, iron and all this kind of stuff, the Rockefellers and, they all sort of came out at the same time, which was interesting, and captured all these industries that now are the main industries that they teach, and that's how they got their money. Then they can start things like the film industry, and if you're willing to do what they want, they'll just promote your movie, and then suddenly you're famous and you got money. So that's how they can offer, sell your soul and you can have whatever you want kind of deal, right? Because they got in and captured. I mean, I don't know if they captured organizations that they were building or if they started them, but
yeah,
because we have the story of the fallen angels too, that they came down and they taught all these different things to humans, right? And I think, some of them was definitely makeup and arts, and the metallurgy might have been in there. So, I mean, that's industry, if you look at the industries, I might have to do a video on that, a bit of a look.
Yeah.
But that's how it all started. And these people are now, the top of these organizations.
Yeah.
Which are above the governments and the banks.
Yep. And the health of the people.
And then definitely above the health of the people.
Yeah.
God, how's that video we saw on the jabby wabby going into the blood?
Oh, that was a trip out. You should post that little link to that one.
Yeah, I'll put a link below, and if we put it up on this, they'll take the video down, but I'll put a link below. Go click on it and watch that. Very interesting.
Yeah, gross. It's terrible. It's sad. Anyway, so hey, just while we're on the topic of promotions, I'm just going to do a promotion myself.
Oh.
So check this out. So last week on the channel, you guys would have noticed I had a terrible cough, which I did, which I also had when I was in Bosnia. And all of you put in some fucking excellent solutions. And I was like, go us with our sovereignty and our sovereignty over our bodies. I love it. And one of them was nebulizing. So this is a tiny little nebulizer, which I bought a couple of months ago, and I haven't used it. And then the comment reminded me to get it out. Now it's just a personal one, right? And this little box here. Can you see? That's where the liquid goes. So the ingredient that the recipe was 3% hydrogen peroxide, distilled water, and salt. And so basically, which is an excellent solution, right? And so I just nebulized, I don't know, whenever, like once an hour, whenever I was coughing, I just do this for like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever. And honestly, within the first 3 days, that gunky, phlegmy, making me want to like vomit phlegm, like that sort of like, I'm sure all of you so relate, just dissipated. So now I've got hardly any cough. It's this tiny little tickle with just the last little bits of phlegm. So I'm highly recommending that our whole community for the next couple of years add a nebulizer to your medicine cabinet, because this cough, this phlegmy cough thing, this chest stuff, it's going around and around and around, and it's definitely seems to be part of it definitely is part of what's been happening the last couple of years. So side note,
there you go.
Totally good idea. Hydrogen peroxide, salt, water, and a nebulizer. Woo.
Awesome.
All right. Let's put that
Back to the show.
Okay, so back to the show. So I'm going to keep going, right? Now, the other element that plays a character in this timeline is the vril.
Ah, the vril.
Yeah. And now we've seen this physical sort of thing that physically goes to the eye.
Oh, you're freezing.
Ear, or the Black Eye Club. Huh?
You just froze. Do you want to start that sentence again?
Yeah, I was talking about how we've all seen pictations of the vril being physical and entering through the eye or through the ear. And, the Black Eye Club and this whole like blackened eyes, and the Queen of England when she came out to that black eye, and like we do see that dictated. So the vril's a thing. Now, is the vril a separate character to the draconians and to the demons, or is it the end result of the demons?
Because the vril's supposed to be a parasite, right?
Yes, it
that literally goes in through your eye or your ear or whatever, and that's why they get a black eye.
And isn't that the black goo? Isn't the vril the black glue? Aren't they the same thing? I've always thought they were the same thing.
I don't know. We'll have to do a bit of research.
But they fucking act like the same thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, and, in World War II, a certain country's leader was running around the world, had a vril society. He was like running around looking for relics. He was down in Antarctica building new shrubberland. all this kind of stuff. And now, oh, is it Vril? No, what's that place? Is it called Vril up in Greenland? Anyway, there's a. Oh, I'm not doing well here. I'll put something up on the screen. There's a town. Is it called Vril? Yeah, it must be called Vril. Anyway, I'll put a map up and let you know, and it's writing on the screen. But yeah, I don't know exactly what the Vril are. I haven't. Yeah, I don't know. Are they the black goo? Let us know in the comments.
Here's a hypothesis.
This is all just, yes, theorizing.
Here's a hypothesis, right? What if the Vril are actually AI, and the black goo is AI?
Yeah.
And they're basically, the black goo and the Vril is like it's basically technology that's been like, its whole soul and intention is just one form of black magic. Like it's technology that's just like a black hole. Like it's been totally created by the hands of humans that have been taken over by demons, and have literally created this relic, this thing, and it's completely 100%, 100% consciousness has been demonic in nature. You know, like when you get a really, I mean, and also, you know, like I'm just thinking out loud here, because we've always thought that the black goo was something that was discovered. It's always been dictated as something that's shape-shifting and is biologically can integrate and can take you over, but it's got a technology like thread to it. Hey. Yeah. And the Vril's kind of been presented as sort of like somehow organic, like an organic. But how can the Vril be organic if this demonic energy doesn't even create a soul? It can't be organic. So it has to be tech. It has to be tech. So demons can't be organic. Can demons be organic? I mean, to be organic, you have to have creator energy in you, or do you?
Is in like a solid humanoid.
Like to be
Yeah, well, it's a good, yeah. I mean, you would need to have, you know, the spark of life, which is creativity, really, isn't it? Imagination. I mean, that's the side of the light, I think, and all this other stuff that we're being taught to do, like get in line and everyone do the same thing. That's the dark.
Demons have to be inorganic. They have to be inorganic.
The ones that attach
they
to
are without
people,
life.
The ones that attach to people are clearly not organic, right?
They have to be conjured. They have to be conjured. They're like did you ever read The Red Lion? Amazing book. And you know when like the alchemists, they have to make a like a replica of themselves and bring it to life. Like what's that called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the
like they've got to make it like a clay sculpture of something and animate it and make it live and walk, and it's like a whole
almost
thing.
like voodoo when they make voodoo dolls and things.
But they have to like make something inorganic live. Like they have to animate something. They have to make something like a rock man and make it live and walk and animate. So demons for me have to be conjured. They have to be conjured, and the black goo has been conjured using sophisticated technology, and them opening up doorways and portals in the way they have with CERN. It's been conjured through technology. They've conjured it using these relics. The original relics, Campbell, I reckon, you know what I think they are?
What?
I think they were looking for metals. I think they were looking for the metals. The metals, the unknown metals, the precious, like the alien metals
that they needed to make black goo and stuff with.
Relics from metals that aren't native to the earth. That they were looking for, like, crashed ships or leftover shit from previous invasions, something like this.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that they may have been. I mean, so now we're up to what, 4 or 5 different races have invaded us. This is not looking good.
No, but I want to know, Campbell, do you think that the Satan, the top of the demon experience and the top of the draconian experience has come together and generated something other, something new? I mean, could that be the black goo and the Vril? Maybe that is the black goo and the Vril. Maybe that's their child, the combined efforts.
Yeah, I mean, we all heard about the glue and, you know, the Jabberwocky, and that there was even those videos going around showing them self-assembling. I mean, to me, I've always thought it's basically that's to use on us to try and turn a human into a cyborg, right? Literally to get like this internal system built up, right? This network that then takes over and controls, which is exactly what demons do, right? So that, you know, there's a link in that way of thinking there. Did they get together and make it? I don't know. I'm still not sure if draconians and demons are one, or are they separate. Like we're gonna have to do some research on this now and find the defining what defines a demon and what defines a draconian, but yeah, I mean, I don't.
All right.
Okay. Because I don't know, like would you, if there's good spirits, as we've been told, and like angels and all this kind of stuff, would they be organic? Because
I'm not. Don't say the word angels. That'll
well,
just take me down my fucking
ethereal,
Christianity rant.
good ethereal beings. Angels.
I think there'd be nature spirits. I think there'd be nature magic. And I think if there's a reptoid,
like
a native reptile, there's native other things too. I think if we've got a native, I think what's living in and on the earth that's native to this earth is bound by
essentially good
positive charge.
Yeah.
I think that.
I agree that too. I think all the stuff that happens and all the wars and all this, you know, they love to say that we're, you know, vicious war-like creatures, but you don't see that ever. Like you only see that to people who've been massively traumatized or tricked or whatever by these people that control us, the whisperers, right? The demons and that. So I'd agree. I don't think humans are bad or anything on this earth. It's just living its life, and whatever's controlling us doesn't seem to be from here. So maybe that's what makes them. Maybe that's what makes them bad. Is they're just in the wrong vibration, right? Who knows?
Getting
These
chilly.
are big questions, man.
I'm just going to wrap up a bit.
You're wrapping up.
I'm just going to wrap up a bit. Okay, so. All right, so we haven't worked that bit out, but just say we've got the draconians and we've got the demons. The demons feel like they have to possess someone, whereas the reptiles feel like they have to parasitically like become them. Like whereas the demonic stuff seems to be like a more of a clicking onto the energy points, you know, like a
the monkey on the
shadow.
back.
Yeah, exactly.
The people that what's his name, Jerry Marzinski, that talks about with all the schizophrenics and that, where these demons suddenly come out, but then the people all sort of go back and be.
That's right, and they're called jinn. So yeah, as we know. So, but then we've got what happened the other night. So if on one hand we've got the demons and Satan, on the other hand we've got the draconians, and then the other night we had a new alien. If that thing is right, if that video is right, that we have a new outer realm invader and or you know lot group invasion. Well, they're harming the animals, so invaders. They've been agreed to by the draconians, and the demons have agreed to in bringing them in. This is a human decision. And so they could only be here to serve them, to serve their agenda. They wouldn't bring in anything that wouldn't serve their agenda.
No, or is
unless
it again,
they were tricked.
Is it the spirits, or whatever you want to call them, the consciousness of these demons or whatever have taken people over, and they've, like we said, build up all these technologies to bring the physical ones through so they can physically be here.
Oh, you mean a physical race of Satans?
Yeah. So like, you know, back in the day with Crowley and that, they were doing seances and connecting to people and talking to them. And through that, the demon's like, oh, we want to get in there, but we need, you know, a large hadron collider, and we need this.
Right,
that. So that all gets built for the whole purpose of then creating a portal to bring these beings in. Same with the quantum computing, you know, the computers, they say that they've go into different dimensions and they're contacting demons and devils and alternative gods and all this weird stuff. Like there's a lot of weird stuff that this Geordie, what's his name? Geordie, someone says, forgotten his name.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit disheartening to think of a fucking army of physical Satans coming in, Campbell. But
I
thanks for
know,
that
right?
thought, buddy. All
Geordie
right,
Rose. That's his
I'll
name.
just you know, or amazingly, because we're getting closer to the positively charged experience, potentially, a group of beings came in that were positively charged and they tricked them. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be nice. It
That'd
would
be
be
super
about
fun.
time as well, man.
But why do they need the animals?
Yes. I mean, yes, that any good force is not going to want to come in here and start doing experiments and cut. That's what the evil forces here do, right? With all their surgeons.
Yeah.
When we know we live in self-healing bodies, but they just love to cut us up and fill us with all this crap and do stuff to, you know, do all their tests. They do all their tests on animals, right? Like there was big uproars in the 70s and the 80s, but they're still doing it, man.
Oh, they still do it. I can't talk about that.
Disgusting. Yeah. So I'd say anyone any consciousness that can do that is evil, clearly, right?
Well, then fuck. What you're saying, Campbell, is that we've just been invaded again by something negatively charged and not in our favor again, and in support of the current agenda. Right.
Yeah. If this is true, then I mean, yeah, I would say that either that or it's the physical expression, you know, the physical bodies of something that was already here. But which to me kind of makes sense because the last couple of years, right, like they're bringing everything out into the open. They're trying to push their values onto us and turn us into the people that will put up or accept what they do. We know what they do behind closed doors, and they've been behind closed doors for a long time, right? But now they, you know, all the sexual perversion stuff's all coming out, all the, you know, we've seen stuff on, you know, bloody rituals and where they eat all the bodies made like the cakes made like bodies and all this weird stuff, right?
Spirit cooking.
So they're trying to turn this world into a world that they can freely live in, that they can just walk around and do their, you know, all this bloody mind attracted people and stuff, you know, that's them, right? But they're trying to bring it in to the mainstream.
But they know that the tide is about to happen.
They must, but I mean, I think that they, you know, when I think of these people, I always remember this. It's from the Bible, I think, but it basically says you'll know them because they're arrogant, right? These dudes are arrogant. Like they think they can win. I think that's they're trying to basically get as many souls, if you want to call it that way, into a low vibration and hold them there. So when this change happens, they have a workforce, right? They still have a population they can parasite off.
Jeez. I'm impressed.
So that's well, if that's what I think's happening. If you're going forward and you're becoming freer and more sovereign, then you're on one road, and that's to a different world than this one. But then if you're believing all the stuff and filling yourself up with all the stuff they're telling you to, then that's going to hold your vibration down. And when this change comes, you'll probably can possibly stay in a negative vibration. I don't know. That's what the last 4 years have kind of felt like, though, right? All this stuff they're doing is affecting ultimately people's vibration.
Yeah, for sure. And then all the wiggly parasites, all the new food things we keep watching now. It's gross, disgusting.
God.
I showed him one the other day of Doritos, just a Doritos from a packet under the microscope, and there's white bugs all over it.
It's
and there was
shocking the stuff that's coming out about food at the moment. If you haven't seen it, go to TikTok and I don't know, type food in or fake food or something.
No, I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to show you one disgusting one that like, because you guys just on the parasite kick, just to change the topic for a second. Not that I'm finished with that topic.
Parasite's just the perfect word for them, right? For these, you know, those who wish to rule us, because They are like this, right? They're hiding in the food. They're hiding in the Doritos. They're infecting us from inside out. They are parasites. They're living off us.
Yeah,
To our
yep, that's
detriment.
right. I'm kind of obsessed now. I think if we made a documentary just on parasites, it would be a hit, man. Because it's so fucking full on
Yeah.
to watch. It's so full on.
I think it'd be cool to do a two-part though. You have the first one and it's just on the internal parasites, and then the second one, it's on the external parasites.
Yeah.
The government, right?
All right, we're just on the topic of parasites, just for fun. Let's check this one out because you guys probably would never have thought about this. I'd never thought about this. I mean, obviously, I haven't been buying things like this for ages, but like, let's have a look. It's 2 minutes.
Hey guys, we're about to show you a video that is absolutely disgusting.
This is a combo bin of meat. A combo bin is 2,000 pounds approximately of meat that's coming in from a boning facility where they take it off the carcass and put it into here.
The meat in these boxes comes from many different animals and many different places. Some is even from overseas. All of it is ground together to make the juicy hamburger Americans love. Hamburger used to be the scraps left over from butchering just one cow. But a significant change has occurred. Now, parts of many cows are blended together by the ton.
If we take the meat from one animal, grind it up and make ground beef from just one animal, we're including only the bacteria from one animal. But if we take the meat from 1,000 different animals and grind that together, we're pooling the bacteria from 1,000 different animals as well.
So explain this to me. How many different cows would be in one burger?
Well, I suspect that there are hundreds or even thousands of animals that have contributed to a single hamburger.
Nothing surprises me. I've seen that video, more irrefutable evidence that you have to be more conscientious and smart about your diet, feeding your sacred temple and gift of life from God.
Whoa, does that freak you out?
That's gross. I remember hearing that actually years ago, just about mince and how it's better to eat steaks and stuff because it's from one cow. Like you don't know mince, and it's so bad to mix animals.
Bacteria from 1,000 different cows, people. Oh my god.
And this is what's happening in fake food. And like you said, there's stuff all over, especially all over the processed food. There's all these weird bugs and mites. I mean, and so we're just filling ourselves with this stuff, right? And it's doing the water, they're doing the scars, they're doing the the medicine. So I mean, is that what's solvent? Is that how we get out of this? Like we just stop buying their crap, and we've got to make our own, our own ways to get food and to get water and to get all this stuff.
Oh yes, of
and
course, that's all sovereignty.
System. I mean, that's the ultimate, isn't it?
Yes. Who do you think's doing it to the food chain? Is it Satan or draconians?
That's demonic to me. So
demonic
demons, Satan,
but the draconians eat humans. We're their food source, aren't we? Aren't they?
Well, apparently.
And Satan eats our energy, our energy.
Yeah, but that becomes the more loosh is, people who are sick and frightened and distressed, they're giving off more loosh, right? Someone who's healthy and happy ain't giving off much loosh to these dudes, but someone who's, life's falling apart because they're sick and they feel like crap. I mean, that's emotional. So that's.
Man, we must be strong motherfuckers. We must be such powerful motherfuckers. We are being fed off by demons and draconians, and not to mention the greys, whatever their little roll of is in this. And then not to mention all the parasites and bugs and worms and stuff that's inside our body, and then all the nanotech that's feeding off us. Man, we're literally a walking food source for probably like a million entities.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
Oh my god, and we still stand here
as well. On top of that, it's like each person's like a little universe, right?
Oh my god, we can't. Whoa, when you think about it like that, it's pretty trippy. That's pretty trippy, man. And then we think, okay, fucking hell, man, you're a strong motherfucker.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
if
man.
that little light inside of you, that little soul creator, that love is actually stronger than all the things feeding off you.
Mm. Yeah.
Whoa.
And all the stuff that's been put into our bodies, you know, all the poisons and stuff, you know, and yeah, like we're still here, right? We're still ticking, we're still not sick and dying. So I mean, we must be really annoying these bloody parasites too, right?
Oh my God. It's crazy.
It is
Well, I
crazy.
mean, when you think about it like that, none of these invaders or parasites could actually live without our presence.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's
Who
not
would
the answer,
Satan
by
have
the
to
way,
feed off?
guys.
Who has Satan got to feed off? Who are the demons got to feed off if we don't exist? They can't feed off the animals.
No, no, because
Well,
yeah,
well, they tried werewolves, but
yeah,
they
no,
can't. It's the
we're more easily to control by emotion, and so we're the food source
and
for God knows what, right? At least lots of parasites and many sort of
they all need our blood. They all fucking want our blood, man. They all want our blood, the precious blood. No, it's so funny.
blood.
Wow. So without us, nothing exists.
Yeah, we're the center, man.
Right. So without us, there's nothing to feed on. And I guess they're just and so I think the draconians and the demonic presence, I think it may just be this, I think they're in the same dimensional space. Like I think they've come in from the same vibrational pathways and probably use the same door.
Mm.
And they've probably tricked their way in.
Oh, for
Well,
sure.
with stupid humans conjuring them, and then
Yeah,
like it's come as
Satan's the great deceiver, right?
yes, yep. Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm going to obviously ponder on this now. Obviously, I feel unfulfilled that we haven't come to some concluding concept here. But it is interesting to start to name some of the characters that we're putting on the chessboard.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we start to build a chessboard here, you know? It's an
Yeah,
interesting...
we need a wall with lots of paper and those little lines that connect the lines on it.
That's right.
Because then, you know, because the oldest story is like Enlil and Enki, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people say they were reptilian.
Reptilian.
I don't know. Yeah,
yes.
That's how they're sort of explained.
See, I think they're positively charged, or at least organic, native too.
Well, and that's also the sort of the first story where we get this, you know, the evil twins, if you want, you know, the good brother, the bad brother kind of thing, you know, the positive, the negative, whatever, you know, that because they were, you know, brothers, and one saved humans apparently, or wanted to, and the other one wanted to put us as slaves. So, you know, that could, is that what's like I said before, like with a race, with humans, there's good and bad, right? So there could be good and bad of other entities, you know, whether they be reptoids or Dracos. I mean, I don't know, right? I'm gonna have to do some research, and like I said, start to make a chessboard, the invasion, the invasion plan. But I mean, it's interesting to think because, you know, we normally just think, oh, well, there's just one entity or race or whatever you want to call it that's come in.
Yeah,
but
no.
possibly it's many, and
it's kind of like
they're fighting each other for control, right? Because we know that behind the scenes they fight each other.
Well, didn't the whole the Windsors, they were like in control for ages, and then that's all changed now, and everyone's been fighting within, but not that's all conjecture. But yeah, I mean, like if we play a chessboard here, we would have the reptoids, the draconians, the satans or demons, the real, and then all of the and we've got all the celebrities and all the politicians.
Well,
and then
they're all either real or demons, aren't they? Because
they've been taken over. Yeah.
Hmm.
But then on our side, we've obviously got the organic humans.
Yes.
We've got the elders, the indigenous. We've got Earth. We've got Earth. We've got animals, the animals, and just nature. We've got nature.
Yeah, and I think there are nature spirits too, you know, earthbound spirits that are good, but we just have lost the perception to see them, or which is probably the belief in them. I mean, how many stories are there? You know, if you just believe, you know, you'll see these things, and but we get told that's the first thing we get taught at school, right? Is your imaginary friend doesn't exist. Nothing that we can't see and quantify exists. So your fairies don't exist, your sprites, your brownies, like they're all gone, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing literally that they teach you in school.
Well, in Lord of the Rings, remember there was the talking moving trees that stood on the side of we have nature. And also we've got the monoliths, whatever they are.
Monoliths, yeah.
Whoever's
They're
behind the
still
monoliths.
going. Yeah, I saw there was another one last week. I saw
Yeah, we've got that. Interesting thing, phenomenon. And I guess, I mean, we definitely have there's definitely an energy that's being connected in with us through channeling that's positive. There's a positive energy that's coming through that way, like a radio broadcast. It's coming through different people. There's different names, but it feels the same energy.
Like the Law of One was channeled, and that's all obviously good stuff. So I mean, most of the channeling I've seen, it tends to be good. I suppose I guess the difference is there's channeling and then there's seancing or summoning, right? And they're a different thing. Like one is someone trying to give a message, the other is silly humans connecting or whatever with bad entities. But yeah, I hope I'm waiting for the good ship Lollipop to come along and come in and wipe out the demons, and that would be nice. We need more help, man.
Well, I don't know. Like when you put that chessboard together with the different sides and what we've described, our side looks pretty fun. We've got shamans and we've got natural, using our natural energy for healing. We've got all the healers with all the Reikis and all the use of energy and understanding how the energy works through our bodies. We've got all the creators. We've got all the artists and musicians. Well, we've got all the organic ones. The celebrities are over there, and they don't count. When I talk about music, that they don't count.
No, that's not music. No.
If they're a celebrity, that's not what I'm talking about. But we've got all the creativity. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, clearly. I mean, listen to the music today that's released. There's no creativity in that. It's a formula. It's a bloody algorithm.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good tools on our side, Campbell.
Yeah, I know. I would agree. We do have a lot of powerful, and earth magic and stuff like this. We just seem to lack organization. I guess they've taken them all over.
Well, yes, the organizations are on that side of the chessboard, unfortunately. We don't know an organization that serves humanity. Have we ever experienced that? Do we know an organization that serves like a proper organization? Like, I mean,
No, many have claimed to, but as far as have they? Well, clearly not. Look at the world. It's got progressively worse with every organization.
Yeah, I can't think of an example of that. I mean, I can think of social impact organizations and charities, but not, and they have to be grassroots to be real. Yeah, we don't know a good example of that. So organizations are over there.
Humans aren't that interested in taking control of other humans, and that's essentially what all organizations are and do, right? They want to, it's all about control or power, or even if it's advertised and put out there as, oh, we're helping you, we know it's always the opposite.
Commodity, profit, and survival. That's an organization.
And most of the charities, what we think of charities, man,
for sure.
Organizations, with people getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to run them and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Hello. I did the 40-hour famine when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I know, right? And still, there's still starving people. And that's a worldwide thing, man. It was huge in the 80s.
Yeah.
And nothing changed.
From our side of the chess, but from their side of the chessboard, we would have what did I say? What were the words? Profit, commodity, and survival. And on our side of the chessboard, we'd have legacy, beauty, and custodianship. There would be the 3 words I'd hand over to our side. So legacy, beauty, and custodianship versus profit, commodity, and what was the last one? Survival.
Survival, yeah.
See, look, I mean, fucking hell, we are so on the right side, man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and I still believe we've already won. So if we've already won, there's no way we can lose, right? And And yeah, I think we're marching the right way. We just got to keep getting more powerful and more sovereign. And you know, when there's a, if we're all in tune and in touch, when there's something arise that needs to be taken care of, then the right people should be there, right, and take care of it. We just need
And
need Merlin.
yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
That's
Sherlock the dog.
Sherlock the menace. Oh, he's a menace. Not sure what he's barking at. Actually, is it late? We've been yapping on for a while because I think it's got really dark all around me.
It has got
and
really dark out there.
the chickens will have to go to bed. Anyway, so in
I'll have to
summary,
wrap up. Yes.
there are different characters in this game that we're playing. So when we say they, there's not just one they. And
I guess we probably could say they, right, instead of he or she.
yeah, them, they.
We're into pronouns.
Pronouns, yeah.
They,
So
them.
they. All right. Well, I don't know what the vibe of our talk today was. I don't know where it went.
Does it make sense? Let us know. Leave us a comment. I think we confused ourselves more than
well, I would sit here and have a joint and talk about it for another hour until I got to the end of my thoughts on it. I feel like I've just begun. So stay tuned because yeah.
I think the chessboard's a good idea. Let's start writing out a bit of a thing and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cool visual. I'll definitely turn that into a visual if we put it together.
So as you can see with our amazing thumbnail, hasn't been created yet, but will be.
I mean, basically, and then we can see their weaknesses because draconians rely on technology and technology is weakened by any sort of solar pulse or something natural from the energy grid. Not whatever. It's sensitive to energy. So if there's a pulse that would knock out the draconian agenda. And then, of course, demons are sensitive to love and heart and true sovereign creator gods, very sensitive to creator gods.
Yeah.
And we definitely could take, when everyone realized what they are, the world would turn from them. They'll lose all their food, the energy they lose. It would change dramatically. The positive shift will come in. The positive charge is the biggest threat to the demonic agenda. It can't live in that vibe.
Yeah, exactly. It needs the negative emotion for food.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then, Campbell, it looks like so when you say we've already won, I mean, it's true. But anyway, now I'm going on a tangent because now I want to think of all of our secret weaknesses and secret strengths and all of our different secret weapons and put together a full-on game in my brain.
Oh, that's what we need, the conspiracy board game.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would that be? And of course, the board game doesn't exist without the humans playing it. That's the other thing. The draconians couldn't taken over if humans weren't willing to play their game and weren't willing to agree and build their technology. And the Satan could never have taken over if we hadn't agreed to conjure him and bring him forward. They rely on humans.
They totally rely on us, totally, for everything.
Yeah. So the whole thing is centered. The players are humans on either side. That's a good way to end it. Even though the characters aren't all human, the players are all human. Like, you can't play this game. You can't move the chess pieces without humans on either end of the game.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're the center,
If there's no humans willing to be taken over by reptilians or taken over by demons in order to build this technology, in order to deliver their pop music or whatever, then they wouldn't have, they've got no way of manifesting anything.
Yep. So, it's all these weak ass, low moral humans that have done this to us.
There's a game that humans are playing. All right, that puts it into good perspective. So I think that's good now. Rounded off.
Play the game.
Yeah, Queen. They were my favorite.
No, such a shame about Queen. So many
I know. Oh. Anyway, so there you go. That's what we've ended up. We now know the players of the game and we know some of the characters. So that's fun. All right. Awesome. Well,
we'll be back with an update then and a chessboard.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, you guys have an excellent week and we'll see you next week for Tartaria, Australia.
Alrighty, stay awesome.
Whatever comes out.
Bye.
Bye.